Hi everyone, I'm Paul Webb, Head of Learning Strategy and Customer Education here at Joblogic. Thanks for joining me. Today we're talking about reporting, and I know that might not sound like the most exciting topic in the world, but stick with me because this is one of those areas where the gap between what businesses think they know and what they actually know can be surprisingly wide. I've had so many conversations with customers over the years where someone will say, "We've got reports, we run them every month." And then I'll ask a simple question like, "Are you profitable on that contract?" Or "Which jobs are falling behind on SLAs for you?" And suddenly the room goes deathly quiet. And that's not criticism, that's just the reality for a lot of service businesses. The data's often there, but it's scattered, or it's inconsistent, or it's sitting in a report nobody looks at. So today, we're going to walk through how to get real value out of Joblogic's reporting. We'll look at the huge library of standard reports you already have access to, how to look at your data from different angles, whether that's by job or contract or cost or even performance. We'll talk about building your own reports when you need something specific. We'll cover the industry packs that give you a ready-made reporting and compliance framework for your sector. And we'll talk about something that I think matters more than any individual report: data quality, and how what your engineers capture on site every day is the foundation that everything else depends on. Right, should we get into this? Let's start with the honest bit, shall we? Most field service businesses are not short of data. They're not, and that's rarely the problem. The problem is clarity. It's consistency. It's being able to answer a simple question without having to pull together 3 spreadsheets, ring 2 people and wait until Friday for numbers to even make sense. I've seen this play out plenty of times, a lot of times over the years. A service manager needs to know which jobs are running behind. A contract manager wants to check SLA performance on a key account. Or a finance manager is trying to reconcile invoices with actual job costs. And in too many businesses, those 3 people are working from completely different data in completely different systems at different speeds. That's where the real drag starts. Not because anyone's doing anything wrong. It's not. It's because the information isn't connected. The operational side of the business is telling one story, finance is telling another, and leadership is trying to make decisions based on a version of events that's already a week old. So what we're going to do today is break reporting down into 2 layers. The first is operational reporting, the stuff that helps you make better decisions day by day. The second is more strategic reporting, the stuff that helps you see where the business is heading and plan for what's coming next. And the bit that sits in between, the bridge between operations and finance, that's where most businesses either get it right or lose a lot of time and money trying. Before we jump into the demo, it's worth saying this: Joblogic already gives you the standard reports you'd expect to find sitting inside each module, each area of the system. Your jobs module has jobs reports, obviously. Your quotes module has quote reports, invoice, stock, engineers, purchasing, PPM. They've all got their own built-in reporting. That's your day-to-day bread and butter, and when the data going into those modules is good, those reports work really well. But today we're going to go further than that, and we're going to focus on 3 things. Dynamic reports, which give you a much broader and more powerful reporting capability across the whole system. Industry packs, which give you a ready-made reporting and compliance framework tailored to your sector. And we'll briefly look at building your own reports when you need something specific. So let's jump in. So let's look at the screen, let's dive in, and we're going to look at dynamic reports. This is your reporting hub. And the first thing I want to land here is the scale of what's available. So you're going to go to your reports button, click on dynamic reports, and open that screen up. Let's tuck that dashboard, a little sidebar in there. You've got access to over 200 standard reports in here already built, already in your system. They cover a huge range of topics: jobs, contracts, customers, sites, cost, performance, assets, invoicing, purchase orders. I could go on. Engineer time is a great one, stock, and more. And that's a significant library. And in my experience, a lot of customers are only using a fraction of it. Not because reports aren't useful, but because they haven't had the chance to explore what's there. So one of the simplest things you can do after this webinar is spend 20 minutes in here browsing this list, seeing what's relevant to your role, and looking at data from different angles. Now, the thing that makes this library really powerful is that you can look at your data from several different ways. And it's worth understanding this because most questions in a service business don't sit neatly in one box. So let's take a report like job and visit details. So if I just go up to my search here and put job and visit and hit search, you'll see I've got my job and visit details report, and I can hit a preview straight away. Okay, so this gives me this operational day-to-day view. Okay, so this is what, the job and visit details gives me as well. And it opens in a separate tab, which is great because if I'm doing a load of things, I can come in here now, get rid of that. And then maybe I want to look at something like job performance. So I can put my job performance inside there, type it correctly again, and hit search. Again, job performance and cost analysis, give it a little preview. Another window opens. So I've got both opens now, so I can bounce between the two, and I can see what happened on that job. What did it cost? How long did it take? Was it completed within target? That's your day-to-day operational view, and by all means use filters and so on. Then you've got things like contract performance overview. So again, if I get rid of the text in there and I put contract performance inside there and search, I've got my contract performance overview. Another tab, straight in there. This lets you step back and look at things from a contract level. How is that contract performing? Are we hitting SLAs? Are we completing PPM visits on time? Is the work under that contract profitable? Can we see what's going on with this? That's a completely different lens on the same data. So I've got 3 lovely instant reports there that give me everything I need. You've also got customer and site level reports, customer profile reports, receivables, site insights, all sorts. These help you understand what's happening at the account level. Okay, so how much does that customer owe? What's the job history across their sites? What's the outstanding balance? And then you've got costing and performance views, reports like quote tracking and analysis. So if we bring that up inside here, again, hit my preview button, and I've got my quotes tracking and analysis report in there. Lovely data. Forgive the data, guys. It's a testing data, obviously, but this is where you understand the margin that's being made or lost, where time is being spent productively, and where quotes are converting or stalling. Okay, so when I say you can look at your data from a job, contract, costing, or performance basis, that's not abstract. Those are actual report categories sitting in your system right now. The question is whether you're using them or not. So a couple of practical things that are worth knowing. If there's reports you use regularly, like those 4 reports there, they would be good. If it was my business, I'd be wanting to know those sorts of things. But you can add these as favorites. Okay, so it's easy to find. So I can just tick any of these and add them to my favorites in here. And then I can just filter by my favorites. That means that shared tab means your team doesn't have to search through the full list every single time. They can see favorite reports. You can also schedule reports to be sent automatically, daily, weekly, or monthly, straight to an email address or an FTP account. And you can do that by using the schedule report function here. Okay, it's really straightforward. If your finance team needs a particular report every Monday morning, set it once and it just runs. No one has to remember to pull it. So fill out the email template in front of you on the screen now to your finance, put some body in there, what you want, what time, when it should go, hit save, and that's scheduled, ready to go. And if you want to go further, if we go back to one of those reports we pulled up earlier, see the share button here on the right hand side? You can export to a CSV. So you can run it into something that will work in Excel. That then gives you the ability to build pivot tables, charts and graphs in Excel. Then upload that template back into Joblogic. Next time you run it, it populates your custom layout automatically. It's a really good way to get exactly the view you need without starting from scratch every time. So just to recap, guys, export it, put it into Excel, spend some time building what you need and what you want to see and how you want it to display, and then simply upload it back into the reports library inside Joblogic, and you then have your own built template that can then give you those that raw data displayed the way that you want it to be displayed. Now guys, 200 reports, it's a lot. It is, but obviously the search function, the categories, the status, all helps you find them. The favorites, don't forget to use your favorites. Use that tab in the middle to go straight to those favorite reports. But every business is different, we know that, and there will be times when you need something specific that isn't quite right or isn't in our library as standard. But the good news is you've got options here. So if you are on the report screen here and you see the green button in the top right hand corner, you can click on Create Dynamic Dashboard. Let's give it a name of Webinar Reporting, like so. Again, my spelling is atrocious. Hit Save. And now you can begin to build your own dynamic dashboard directly inside Joblogic. So once you've pressed that button, you'll then be able to build these custom views based on data points that matter most to you. So if I click on Add Source, what I mean by data points is the source of the data and where it's coming from. Okay, so you can say, okay, I'm going to build this around jobs. I can add the source, and then it will start getting ready for us to move into the kind of next stage where we go into the dashboard designer. And if you've used sort of Word and you're okay with it, and you're okay with Excel and stuff like that, this shouldn't be a problem. It's very intuitive, very easy to use. But again, ask yourself first, do I need to build this? Have Joblogic got this already? Because we have a suite of dashboards that we have available to you. So before you waste your time building these sorts of things that we may already have, then speak to your account manager, speak to your customer success manager, and ask the question before you get stuck into this. Okay, so quite simply, you go into reports, hit that green button, give it a name, choose the source, and then start building. The second option, as I mentioned, you can build custom report templates using Excel. Export that raw data, shape it how you want, and then upload that as a template. That's a practical option for everyone who wants a tailored view without needing technical skills, if you like. And thirdly, if you need a completely new report that doesn't exist yet, you can request one. Just reach out to the support team via live chat, email or phone, or talk to your customer success manager. They'll spec this out for you or with you and give you an ETA on how long it would take to build. We build new reports regularly based on what customers are asking for, and that feedback genuinely shapes what gets added to the standard library over time. Now, this next bit is something I feel strongly about, because it's where a lot of service businesses lose time and money without even realizing it. And it's the gap that sits between operations and finance. I've seen businesses where the service team is running at full pace. Jobs are getting done, engineers are busy, the schedule looks healthy. But when you speak to the finance team, Invoicing is 3 weeks behind. Cost data is inconsistent, and no one can give you a confident answer on profitability. That disconnect happens when teams are working from different data. Service is looking at job status, finance is looking at invoices, and the two don't always match up, especially when information is being rekeyed or transferred between systems. So what I'm going to do, guys, is I'm going to go down my tab on the left hand side here, and I'm going to go to invoices, and quite simply I've got an invoice log here, an all invoices screen, if you like. What Joblogic does here, and this is one of its real strengths, is connect those layers we were just talking about. Jobs linked to contracts, contracts linked to finances. Invoices are generated from actual job data, not from someone in the office typing it up again from a piece of paper or a WhatsApp message or another system. Okay, so if we look at the invoice log, it gives your finance team a clear, filterable view of what's been invoiced, when, and to whom. So they can use their search button up here like you're used to seeing in Joblogic. They've got a start and end date, and of course they've got the lovely advanced options in here. So I can look at them. If you're using tags, I can search for invoices with tags or without tags, between different dates, include standard invoices. All my PPM are in there, so I can take them out. I can take SORs out if I want, and customer groups, and even higher. And then I can just research for standard invoices and maybe even project ones. So the invoice log, as we're saying, I filtered it down, left those two things ticked, and it's dropped it down now to 174 invoices. So what I can do is export this and get it straight into a CSV. I can print it and bring up the view on the screen should I wish to. Let's just get rid of that. Like so. So I can just print this out, all this information here, and then I just close that down. Those were my options inside that report. So that's my invoice report there. What I want to do is jump back to the report section here, and what I've done ready is I've filtered for the customer profile and receivables reports. From a finance point of view, this is a really good report to use, because once you open it up, and let me just got it open another screen here, you can see the account health for those customers. You can see where they are, what's owed, what's been paid, and so on inside that report. And again, guys, you've got that export option to pull that out into a CSV as well. So that's the customer profile and receivables report. Really, really good one for finance there. So let's just go back to the reports main screen, and let's just clear this. So guys, you cannot get strategic insight without clean operational data. Okay, and you've seen some of my data today isn't the cleanest with my test account, and that's a testament to what I'm telling you. That's this, and that is the line I keep coming back to. If the data going into your reports is patchy, inconsistent, or late, then no amount of clever dashboards are going to give you the clarity that you need as a business. So, guys, let's look at the strategic layer that I spoke about at the start of this webinar. This is the board level view, the stuff that helps leadership teams see where the business is heading. Okay, so if I go to my screen, I'm going to drop my dashboard button at the top here down, and you can see I've got some options here. The first one I'm going to look at is the finance dashboard. So I'm just going to let that pop up. So this finance dashboard pulls together the big picture, if you like. Invoice values, payments, statuses, overdue invoices, breakdowns by trade and area and date, all sorts available at your fingertips. Your finance manager can see at a glance where cash is flowing and where it's stuck. So let's just look at another one that might interest the finance team. So my work in progress dashboard, this one tells you what's been done but hasn't been invoiced yet. And in service businesses, this is often where significant revenue sits waiting. If you're not monitoring WIP regularly, you're probably sitting on money without knowing it. Obviously, again, as you'd expect in Joblogic, I've got numerous filters. I've got my graphs at the side with my cost versus my sell, my total cost button, undelivered POs, and then my information down the bottom here. So again, a really powerful dashboard inside the system. So if you're running contracts, this dashboard shows you compliance rates, upcoming schedules, overdue visits, all sorts of filters available to you at the top again. And I've got visits due next month for the current date. I've got contracts expiring in the next 3 months, which is really powerful. And all those sorts of things you'd expect to see on a dashboard. It gives you the evidence you need when a client asks how their assets are being looked after. Guys, last one I want to look at is the CRM dashboard here on the left-hand side again. And the CRM dashboard ties customer interactions together, quote activity, job history, communication patterns, useful for anyone managing accounts or renewal. So again, guys, I've got my filters running across the top, which is obviously the norm inside Joblogic. I've got numbers of quotes, I've got closed quotes, total amount quoted, I've got pipeline by the stage they're at, and count per quote statuses. Really powerful stuff. The point here, guys, is that strategic reporting should not just tell you what happened. It should tell you what to do next. And that only works when the data underneath it is clean, consistent, and current. Right, so that leads me nicely into this part. And I think this part is what matters more than any individual report that we've just shown you on the screen there. Data quality. Because here's the uncomfortable truth, and forgive me if I'm being a bit blunt here, but the data you get out of those reports is only ever as good as the data you put in. No mince of my words, that is the only thing that matters. And for most field service businesses, that data starts with the engineer on site on the mobile app. So if your engineers are not completing job descriptions properly, if their notes are vague or missing completely, if photos aren't being taken, if time isn't being logged accurately, if forms aren't being filled in on site when they're actually meant to be as part of the workflow, not after, then your reports are going to reflect that. They'll be incomplete, inconsistent, and ultimately unreliable. And I want to be clear here, guys, this is not about blaming engineers. It's not. I've talked about this plenty of times before. Engineers don't resist good tools. They resist extra hassle. They resist anything that feels like admin for the sake of admin. So the question is not, how do we force engineers to fill in things like this? The question is, how do we make the right data easy to capture in the flow of the job? First, mobile usage needs to be the standard, not the exception. If you've got engineers who are still ringing the office for job details, texting updates, or writing notes on paper to enter later, you've got a data quality problem before a single report is ever run. The mobile app is where the data originates, right? We get that. It's where job information is captured at the point of the work. So if that step is being skipped or done inconsistently, then everything downstream suffers. Your reports, your invoicing, your compliance evidence, all of it. And we know across our customer base that many businesses don't have sufficient mobile app usage. It's not a judgment, it's an observation. And the businesses that do get this right, the ones where mobile is just how the job gets done, they're the ones whose reports actually mean something. Secondly, make the important stuff mandatory, okay? Job descriptions, completion notes, photos, time on site, forms, where they're required. These shouldn't be optional, because when they're optional, They're the first thing that gets skipped. When someone's busy, they're going to skip them. Simple. And engineers, they're always busy. They are. If your business relies on that data to invoice, to report, to evidence compliance, then it needs to be captured every time, not just when someone remembers. This has to be framed as a habit, not a punishment. If you tell engineers they have to fill in more fields, they'll push back. If you show them that good data means fewer phone calls from the office, less chasing, fewer arguments about what was done and when, and better protection if there's ever a dispute about the work, they'll lean in. I've seen this work many, many, many times. It's the same principle as any good rollout, guys. Involve people early, explain the why, and make it easy to do the right thing. The best way to improve your reporting isn't to add more reports. It's to improve the consistency of the data feeding them. And that starts absolutely on site every day in the app. Now guys, I want to talk about something that ties all of this together really nicely for you, and that is something a lot of customers either don't know about yet or haven't explored. Industry packs. Now these are available in our marketplace, and we currently have 11 packs covering sectors like electrical, HVAC, fire and security, plumbing, water hygiene, and more. Each one of them comes with a tailored suite of forms, dashboards, and management reports designed specifically for that sector. So let's have a quick look at that. If we go down to our side menu here on the left and go to our marketplace, I've obviously got things activated in my test data, but I'm just going to click on explore more. This opens up the Joblogic marketplace, which I hope you are all very familiar with. And if I just put in there industry, just like so, you'll see it takes me to my industry packs, and indeed I have 11 categories. Now, what I could do here is if I take, for instance, the electrical industry pack and click on there, what it shows you is what you'll actually get if you grab the electrical pack. You get 6 dashboards built in, you get 23 forms, and you get 51 comprehensive reports. So these will be covering things like EICR certificates, emergency lighting inspections, portable appliance testing, and all the industry standard documentation your engineers need to complete on site. The 6 dashboards, so they give you the views across finance, work in progress, PPM and CRMs, and specific compliance areas like lighting certificates and risk assessments. And as I said, those 51 reports, they're covering things like job tracking, cost analysis, contract performance, accounting exports, and more. That is a full reporting and compliance framework pre-built, ready to go for your industry. And here's the important bit. These aren't generic templates. They're designed around the way your industry actually works. The forms match the standards your engineers are already familiar with. The dashboards surface the information that matters to your sector, and the reports give you that kind of visibility that most businesses would otherwise have to build from scratch. Now, as a business, we've enabled over 2,500 packs across more than 1,100 customers already. So these are well tested, widely used, and they're being continuously improved. And if you work across multiple trades, you can enable more than one pack. Some of our customers are running 3-4 packs alongside each other. Okay, so have a look at the industry packs. Have a look inside the marketplace. As I said, do that little search, just type in industry and take a look through them. Okay, if you haven't looked at them yet, just do exactly those steps I just said. It takes minutes. And if you want to see what's included before you commit, the industry pack pages on our support site list every single form. So just go to our support inside the help button here on the top right hand corner, and then inside there you'll get everything listed in detail, dashboards, forms, the lot. One more thing I want to mention before we wrap this up, and this is for those of you who want to go even further with your reporting. We've got a reporting database app available through the marketplace again. So go into my marketplace here. If I just put in reporting like so, you'll see the reporting database app. Now, this gives you direct read-only access to your Joblogic data. So you can connect it to your own BI tools, whether that's Power BI, Tableau, or whatever you're using internally, and build completely custom dashboards and analysis. It comes with a full data dictionary. Let's just click into it here. It comes with a full data dictionary and relationship mapping, so you can see how the data connects across the system and build queries with absolute confidence. And because it's read-only, there's no risk of it affecting your live data. You're safe. Now, that's obviously aimed at businesses with the technical resource to use it. It's not something everyone will need, but if you've got a data analyst or an IT guy or someone comfortable with SQL, it's a really powerful option and worth a look if you haven't seen it. One last thought on reporting before we close up, and it's something I think is useful to hear. Reporting isn't static. It changes as your business grows, and that's completely normal. When you're a smaller business, reporting is usually quite basic. Job status, cash flow, maybe a couple of KPIs. One person is often managing everything, and the focus is just on keeping things moving. And that's normal. But as you grow and the complexity increases, you start needing dashboards for different roles. You start scheduling reports so that they're delivered automatically. You start caring more about trends and patterns in your business, not just individual numbers. And as you mature further, reporting becomes genuinely strategic. You're forecasting, you're spotting inefficiencies before they become problems. You're using tools like the reporting database to build the kind of analysis that helps the board, your board, make better decisions. Wherever you are on that journey, it's fine. The point is that Joblogic reporting is built to support you and your progression from the 200 standard reports through to the custom dashboard, through to the industry packs, and of course, direct data access. It just grows with you. So guys, let's wrap all this up and bring it all together now, because we have covered a lot in this webinar, and thanks for sticking with me. You've got a huge library of over 200 standard reports covering jobs, contracts, customers, sites, cost, and performance. They're there. You can look at your data from a job level, a contract level, a costing level, or a performance level, depending on what question you're trying to answer. You can schedule reports, okay? Use that, really powerful. You can export them. You can build custom templates. You can create your own dashboards. And if really needed, you can request new reports when you need them, and we will be happy to help. But alongside that, you've now also got industry packs, giving you a tailored suite of forms, dashboards, and reports for your sector. And for those who want to go further, the reporting database gives you the direct access to your data for advanced analysis. But none of that works without the foundation. And the foundation, sorry to bore you with it, is good data. Consistent, complete, captured at point of work. If your engineers are using the mobile app properly, completing descriptions, notes, photos, times, forms, then everything just follows. Your reports become reliable, your dashboards become useful, your decisions become better informed. If the data is thin, start there. Look at mobile app usage, look at what's being completed, and look at what's being skipped. That's where the real improvement lives. So here's what I'd suggest as a next step. Go and explore your dynamic reports. Go and look at that library, 200 of them. Check whether you've enabled your industry pack. Review your mobile app usage and make sure your engineers are capturing the data your business absolutely depends on. And if you need help with any of that, our customer success team are there. Our support team are there, and our learning hub are all there to help you. Thanks for joining me, guys. And as always, if you've got questions, drop them in and we'll get back to you. Thanks very much, guys.